morning, and I'm just walking out of the small Hertfordshire village of Pirton on a walk that I do quite frequently, but it's one that I tend to do just either very early in the morning during the week in summertime, or on a Sunday morning when there's not much traffic, because the first part of the walk is along the road, as you'll see, and then it's all countryside and public footpaths for the last 2/3 of it. But if you do begin this walk during weekdays, during the daytime, then there is a fair bit of traffic along this road. But first thing on a Sunday morning, it's going to be very quiet. Might see the odd car, but it won't be lots and lots of it, and certainly there shouldn't be any lorries or vans or anything like that, because the verges are not the best to stand on. However, sounds a bit negative. It's a lovely walk. I'm just leaving the village, just going past Drover's Way, a new housing development on the edge of Pirton, and heading off on the Holwell road towards the village of Holwell. So today's walk's going to be from Pirton to Holwell, just skirting through the edge of the village there, and then across public footpath back to the Hanbridge Way, which is a footpath between the A600 Bedford to Hitchin Road, and leads you to Pirton. I'm going to be joining that the Hanbridge Way around about halfway between the 2 points, and forming a circular route which takes roughly about 90 minutes to walk, and just passes through some really pleasant countryside. Anyway, here's the road I mentioned. During the week there can be quite a few cars moving up and down here at quite some speed, and as you'll see, the verge is not really the easiest to have to keep jumping onto if vehicles come, but if you're careful, it's perfectly fine. So I'll say goodbye to Pirton just for the moment and head down here towards Wright's Farm at the first corner where we turn off towards Holwell. Well, rather surprisingly, for 7:30 on a Sunday morning, 2 cars came in opposite directions and some bikes all at the same time. So it just goes to show that there is a fair bit of traffic around along here, even at this early hour on a Sunday morning. There is a lot more traffic during the week time, as I say. So it's probably a walk best done first thing in the morning at the weekend or bank holidays, as I am doing today. I've just got to the corner between Pirton and Holwell. This is a nice diversion you can take away, turn off to the village of Stondon, down the public footpath there. It's quite pleasant, it's very flat, it doesn't take too long, and it's not actually that far, 1.5 miles there to Lower Stondon, and I guess if you come back this way, another 1.5 miles back again. However, today I'm carrying on down this way to the village of Holwell. A lot of mist floating across the fields this morning. It's absolutely lovely. So then, this first part of the walk along the Holwell Road from Pirton, and the actual road itself, it's approximately a mile you have to walk along here. So once we get to Holwell, which is just at the end of this road here, there's a turn off across some fields you can take. You can spend some time in the village itself, although there isn't a huge amount there. There's a church, a bowling green, no shops that I'm aware of. I've certainly never seen any, or pubs for that matter, so my advice would be to have a little rest there, get your flask out, and then carry on back round to Pirton and visit one of the pubs there, if of course they're open. This is a popular spot for the low life that think it's okay to fly tip, but seems to be all clear today, apart from the trodden in remnants of previous visits. But the quest continues for those charged with the task of clearing this mess up every time it's done, so well done to them. Thankfully nothing there today. It is rather rather depressing when you come across stuff like that in beautiful countryside like this. Just entering the village of Holwell now. It was like this little bit here with the pond next to a house over there. So really nice thing to have round the edge of your house. Really stops anyone from just wandering in as well, I guess. Okay, so before we actually you can carry on round the road here into Holwell. The road does get particularly narrow here, and is even more more chance of getting clipped by a vehicle if you walk up there at busy times anyway. So there's this field you can go across back to the Pirton Road in Holwell. It's only a quarter of a mile, just takes you through this field and to the relative safety of footpaths, where you can continue on into the village, or in my case today, I'm going to take a right turn back to another public footpath and back towards the Hanbridge Way and Pirton. This is a fairly underused path on the whole, so what you tend to find it's in summertime. It's still early spring at the moment, but once the grass starts growing and the nettles start growing a bit more, then you find that this does get quite overgrown, but it's always passable, although you might have to dodge a few nettles and so on. That's the village of Holwell, just over there. And this is where the nettles and the overgrowth really is at its worst. It's not too bad just at the moment, but I have come down here in May time, and you really had to just force your way through with a stick through the nettles. So if you've got shorts on, which you almost certainly will do if you're walking around here, you can get a little bit stung. It's okay today though. And at the end of the path we come out onto the same road we were on earlier on. It's called the Pirton Road here. takes you into the centre of the village of Holwell. As mentioned, I'm going to take a right turn here and head on the Pirton road, initially back towards Pirton along this road. When we get along here, we take a left-hand turn and walk across the fields, across the public footpath through the fields to Hambridge Way and back round to Pirton that way. It's Holwell Village Hall. Not a bad place to sit for a few minutes on the seat there. So, once you carry on, you do not take this public footpath unless you want to go directly to the Bedford Road. It'd be quite easy to take that turn. That'll bring you out on the Bedford, the A600, hitch into Bedford Road. No, what you do is you carry on here to this less obvious walkway. It'll take you to Hambridge Way. I think if there's even a signpost. You get to Primrose Hill Cottages and you go up here, which looks like, when you look, that you're not really supposed to come up here. However, there is a sign which clearly states public footpath number 13 hidden in the tree there and hitching 2 miles. So you follow this path until a junction at the Hambridge Way where you can either continue onwards towards Westmill in Hitchin, take a left turn to the Bedford Road, or take a right turn back to Pirton, which is what I'll be doing this morning. Well, I'll mention that when we actually get to it. Over a kind of a ridge just here, so you get a nice view. There's Pirton over there in the distance. Goodbye, Holwell. Holwell's a very long, thin village. Starts over there, keeps going for quite a long way. Just very close to the road that leads all the way to the Bedford Road. A few little side roads off with some housing. Very hazy morning. Used to be a landfill site just here, which is sort of covered over now, but you can still see the methane gas pipes poking out the ground. There's a crematorium over there. I was about to say it's new, but it's probably been there a lot longer than I can recall. It is relatively new. Absolutely beautiful morning. Of course, we're on the edge of the Chiltern Hills here. Just over there you can see. Well, you can see Pirton and then walk up towards Wood Lane and high down towards Knocky Knoll Nature Reserve. Over the top of there you'll come to Pegston Hill and Deacon Hill. You can't see them from here because they're the other side of the hill there, but that's another fantastic walk. Not sure why that gate's open. Once you get away from Holwell and just over the ridge, start to go back downhill again, the path becomes a bit more defined and surrounded by bushes and trees and so on. So This takes a different feel just for a little while. It's quite exposed over that first bit. Certainly on a blustery day, you really notice that going over there. It's a lot more sheltered here. But of course, this used to be a landfill site, so this sort of mound there is artificial. But you'd never really know what it used to be. It used to give off quite an interesting aroma back in the day when the wind was in a certain direction, and a certain amount of litter and whatnot used to blow away from it as well into the trees and bushes around. But that's a thing of the past now. I guess our litter and our domestic waste has been dumped somewhere else these days. Right, just on the last little stretch towards Hanbridge Way now. Now, when you get to this part of the pathway, sometimes the farmer forgets there is a footpath across the middle of the field there and ploughs it. So it, especially when in winter time or when it's very wet, there seems to be the muddiest soil on the history of the planet, or the stickiest soil, I should say, because you get these massive clumps of soil stuck to your boots that just don't seem to ever want to come off. But as you can see, there is a bit of a defined walkway where people have walked across there, and that stays like that once the crops have grown. Failing that, of course, you just basically walk around the edge of the field if you so desire. But according to the sign here, public footpath directs you straight across the field. So if you don't fancy a detour around there, it's a perfectly pleasant way to walk around the edge of the field, I have to say. But this way is quicker. And I'm noticing the pollen in the air this morning. Just the start of the hay fever season for me. That yellow peril over there doesn't help matters. Still, small price to pay for this, really. It always feels like you shouldn't really be walking across here somehow. Probably annoys the farmer, to be fair, because extra bit of space to grow some crops along this bit where I'm walking. Well, there's the pathway back towards Holwell. Pirton's over that way, and we're just about to cross over a little bridge over a stream. We'll come to a bit of a junction, and as mentioned earlier on, this is where you can take a left-hand turn towards the Bedford Road. A right-hand turn to Pirton, which is where I'm going to be going now, or straight on towards Westmill in Hitchin. This is the Hanbridge Way heading back towards Pirton. Nice little stroll along here. Dogs like this bit. About halfway back along Hanbridge Way from the junction back there. Just a very gentle climb now back into Pirton for the next 3/4 of a mile approximately. And then that'll be it. That'll be it. So roughly 3.5 mile walk, gentle stroll, takes just over an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how many times you stop to look around along the way. You can't get lost, just follow the cables. That's interesting. Last time I came down here, you could walk into the field here. I think when Hanbridge Way gets particularly muddy in the winter, a lot walk in the field along the side. So Peter put a sign up, and also dropped a lot of wood down here to discourage anyone from going in there. There used to be, for any of those of you that have ever done geocaching, a geocache or a cache in that tree over there, in one of the trees just on the other side of the drainage ditch. So I guess you can't get to that now either. I can't remember which tree it was in, but it was one of the ones just near the chair here. I always find it a bit of a shame when landowners have to seal areas off because people have gone in and maybe done things they shouldn't, or left litter or rubbish and things like that, so they don't want you going in. Who knows why, but I certainly know a lot of people used to walk along there as an alternative to this pathway, because this does get very, very wet and muddy during the winter time. Perfect for walking on today, however. Oh, that was a very pleasant walk this morning. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I just start to feel the warmth of the sun now. It's quite chilly when I first set off. It really is lovely and warm now. I've seen a few cyclists, a few joggers, dog walkers and so on, so the world has woken up on this Sunday morning. Just on the last bit now, just heading back into the village of Pirton, where I shall sit by the village pond for a little while, have a rest and just watch the world go by. The start of the walk, just as I was leaving Pirton, I mentioned a housing estate just on the edge of the village that we walked past. This is the other end of it. We're about, that's the road, where that white house is there. That's where the Holwell road is, where the walk started. So once you arrive into Pirton, just up here, you can go straight on to the village pond, the village shop, the pubs and the church that are in the village. We'll take a right hand turn down Royal Oak Lane, which will take you back to where I started earlier on. made the effort of walking here from somewhere, then treat yourself and go and get yourself a snack from the shop or a cool drink from one of the pubs here. Certainly it's a little bit early for that at the moment, but if you do this walk around lunchtime, I'm sure the pubs will be open and ready to welcome you in. Have a nice walk around Hertfordshire. Well, I hope you enjoyed that nice little walk from Pirton to Pirton via Holwell and Hanbridge Way. I certainly did. So that's an ideal walk for quite early in the morning, particularly at the weekends when there's not too much traffic on that first section. Easter Sunday today, so it's very, very quiet. Have a nice day.